The Long Play. Chapter 2. 1 month ago. Olivia sat at her desk. It was a coffee-colored shade, its surface faded, especially around the edges. Positioned in the center of the room, it faced the couch where customers waited. It was 10 p.m., the official end of her shift, though she often had to stay later. She had the kind of face that lingered in memory. Delicate yet worn, like a page weathered by too many hands. Her skin was pale, almost luminous in contrast to the long, dark hair that spilled around her like ink. But it was her eyes that told the story. Wide, haunted, and far too old for her age. There was something hollow in them, something broken and quietly desperate, as if she'd witnessed more than she ever spoke aloud. Her beauty was undeniable, but it was shadowed, like a light dimmed by the weight of what she carried inside. She sat motionless, staring at the papers in front of her. She wasn't reading them. She didn't even know what they were about. Emptiness filled her chest. All she could do was sit in silence, eyes fixed blankly. A voice broke through her thoughts.
Mr. Hemsworth, I have an appointment with Mr. Owen.
It was a deep voice, confident, composed. Olivia looked up from her chair and saw a middle-aged man in a black suit, his dark hair combed neatly. She nodded slightly, acknowledging his presence, then dialed Owen's extension, the office behind her.
"Hi, Mr. Hemsworth just arrived,"
she said, her voice low. She nodded again as she listened to the response on the other end, then hung up and looked back at the man.
"You can go in,"
she said softly. He gave a small, serious nod and entered the office. She returned to her papers, not really seeing them. Everything felt heavy. That desk, the dull wood, the brown tones, it all seemed to drain her. Even the plants scattered across the office couldn't lift her spirits. She rested her head on the desk, waiting for Owen's last meeting to end. Eventually, the man exited. Her eyes followed him as he left. Then she rose and gently knocked on Owen's door before stepping inside. He greeted her with the kind smile he always wore. He was the only part of the job she didn't hate.
I know it was a long day,
He said gently.
but I had to take on a few extra appointments.
She gave a soft smile.
"No, it's fine. It's not a big deal. I was wondering if I could come in late tomorrow.
Her voice wavered.
I have something I need to take care of."
He nodded, his smile tender.
Of course, sweetie.
She returned the smile, gratitude in her eyes.
"Thanks. Do you need anything before I go?"
He shook his head.
Number, just go home and rest.
She nodded, then left the office with a faint smile. At the elevator, she paused. It only took a second for her to decide against it. Just like every night. Small spaces didn't scare her, but they made her feel trapped and helpless. So, like always, she took the stairs. As she descended, her thoughts returned to Owen. He was gentle. He reminded her of her father, who had passed away years ago. Owen felt like a miracle, like her father's soul had been placed inside him. Maybe he didn't know how much he meant to her, but that didn't matter. Just hearing his voice brought her peace. She stepped out into the city evening. The early dusk had turned everything a muted gray. The city's hum was unchanged, tires hissing on damp asphalt, far-off horns, hurried footsteps. She pulled her coat tighter, though the air wasn't cold. Just hollow? She reached her car, same spot, same street, and got in. Her purse landed in the passenger seat. She started the engine. No music, no podcasts, just the quiet hum of the motor and the occasional whisper from the heater. But it wasn't quiet inside her. Her mind was loud, full of thoughts she couldn't silence. She drove without really knowing where she was going. Her hands moved out of habit, A green light. A left turn. The farther she got from the city, the less real everything felt. It was like a dream she kept hoping to wake up from. Her mind wandered. It always did when she wasn't speaking, which was most of the time. She thought about everything. Maybe tomorrow would be better. Maybe tomorrow her mom would call. Maybe tomorrow she'd spend more time with her brother. Maybe tomorrow she could forgive. Maybe forget. She took the same exit she'd been taking for 5 years, ever since she moved into that too-quiet house with beige walls and a view of nothing. She pulled up in front of her house, and for a second, didn't realize she was already home. Everything just blurred together now. She got out, walked past her small garden, and entered. Her purse and coat landed on the couch. She changed into a black t-shirt and sweatpants with little white stars. Then she collapsed on the bed, too overwhelmed to do anything else. She shut her eyes tight and drifted off. The next morning. Her alarm buzzed at 7 a.m., a sound she hated more than anything. Even on good days, that noise grated on her nerves. She reached over and silenced it. She sat up, looking around her quiet apartment. The only sound was her own breathing. She shuffled to the kitchen and opened the fridge. Eggs. Still good. She cracked 2 into a pan and listened to the sizzle. It filled the silence. They burned slightly at the edges, but she didn't care. She placed them on a small white plate. No toast, just eggs. Plain and simple. By 8 a.m., she was dressed, but not for work. Just a black t-shirt and wide-leg jeans that hid her shape. No makeup, just sunglasses. She paused at the mirror, her breath heavy. She considered going back to bed. Maybe calling in sick. But instead, she took a deep breath, grabbed her keys and purse, and stepped out. She got into her car and pulled up Google Maps. The address was already there. Her first therapy appointment. Anxiety twisted in her chest. With every mile, her breath grew heavier. After what felt like an eternity, but was really just 20 minutes, she arrived. She sat in the car for a moment, then took a deep breath and stepped out. The office smelled like lavender and clean carpets. Plants filled the corners. Light colors softened the space. A dark blue therapist chair sat across from a beige couch with colorful pillows. A small round table separated them. Dr. Holt looked up and smiled gently.
"Hey, come on in,"
she said, resting her notebook on her lap. Olivia walked in slowly, still feeling unsure. She sat carefully on the edge of the couch. Dr. Holt's smile never faded.
"So, tell me, what brings you here today?"